Confession time, I am really lazy. Even though I review phones for a living, I always have one main driver to get back to, which has all of my passwords, all my banking, all my social media, games, etc, etc. And this year I've been especially lazy because I still have my stuff on a Galaxy S24 Ultra. We are in the middle of 2025, am I insane? Well no, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is still an excellent phone and I'm here to make a case for it a year and a half-ish after its official release. If you're looking at a special deal with a discounted S24 Ultra right now, you might want to hear that. First, impressions are important, so let's start with the external looks. The Galaxy S24 Ultra still has that old Galaxy Note DNA. Remember the Note series? They were discontinued in 2020, and this is how the very last Galaxy Note looked. As you can see, the S24 Ultra is still similar to that, so if you prefer this design to the new boxy S25 Ultra, well, look no further. I also have something to say about the back of the phone. I'm simply not impressed with these floating camera rings that the S25 Ultra introduced. They are lint and hair traps and they serve no purpose. Teardowns of the phone have shown us that these are not actually bigger lenses, the rings are just cosmetic caps awkwardly placed on there. Me no likey. The S24 Ultra's back is cleaner and still looks very high-tech. And I love that yellow color, thank you very much. Onto the screen, this is the first time Samsung used the new Gorilla Armor glass for the screen. As far as I could surmise, it's basically Gorilla Glass Victus, but with a Samsung-made anti-glare coating on top. This is why you don't see the Gorilla Armor on any other phone. And let me tell you, this anti-reflection coating makes a big difference. It took me months to get used to how much the colors and the brightness pop out simply because there's less glare over the glass. I guess this is why rumors state that Apple is hard at work on improving its own anti-glare on the iPhone 17 Pro. Also, I don't know what dark magic this is, but this is the first phone I've ever owned that doesn't get mysterious mini scratches on the glass 2 months in. This has been in my pocket, in my laptop bag, in a backpack over the past 14-ish months, and when I wipe it down, it still looks pristine. The only protection I use is this lovely case from Pitaka, not sponsored, but they did send it to us for free. On to performance. Look, there is a very huge leap between the processors that we get in flagship phones and the processors we get in the so-called mid-rangers. Even if you buy a flagship from 1, 2, maybe 3 years ago, it's still bound to perform better than a mid-ranger that was released right now on this day. They have better thermal management on top of that, very likely better batteries. I absolutely do not feel slowed down by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in here. In fact, I can say I feel a difference in performance between it and the Snapdragon 8 Elite in the S25 Ultra. Of course, you could make the argument that the S25 has more headroom for the future, and with these phones having a 7-year software commitment, sure, headroom is important, but you cannot tell me that the S24 Ultra won't be a pretty solid performer for at least 4 of these 7 years. Okay, surely the camera needs some improvement, right? Well, not really. To be clear, we did enjoy the new S25 Ultra's camera and how it captures more realistic, soft detail instead of having more telltale signs of over-sharpening. The S25 Ultra also upgraded the ultra-wide camera to 50 megapixels from 12 megapixels, which is a nice quality of life update to keep up with the times, but not a must-have, I don't think. All that said, the S24 Ultra's camera was absolutely excellent when it launched, and the fact that it's a year and a half old phone doesn't mean it's suddenly bad. No, I longed for nothing with this camera and it does the job perfectly well with great dynamics, colors, details, portrait mode, zoom, and so on and so forth. One point we rarely talk about is the speakers. I am pretty satisfied with the stereo speakers of the S24 Ultra. It has a surprising amount of detail in the bass. Volume is slightly on the weakish side and has a little bit of that mid-range hump that's inherent with the small acoustic spaces in phones, but in general, surprisingly full and pleasing speakers. I typically get rid of phones that don't have good full sound nowadays, and again, I haven't considered to stop using this. The S Pen, this thing's been excellent for years now. I do use it, and it barely gets improved from one year to the next. One might argue that it was downgraded with the S25 Ultra as Samsung removed the Bluetooth connectivity and air actions. Here's a cold take: air actions are kind of awful anyway. Now, one thing, One UI 7 is an acquired taste for me ever since the update. Here's hoping that Samsung corrects course with One UI 8. So if I had bought this with my own money back in 2024, thanks PhoneArena, God bless, I'd be a pretty satisfied and happy customer right now, mostly. If I were to find a deal on it right now, because stores are trying to get rid of stock, I wouldn't think twice about it, if I was shopping for a flagship, that is. And you shouldn't think twice about dropping that like and a sub. Come on, you know you wanna. Bye!